Hello, and welcome to We Journeyed Together, a one-shot tabletop role-playing game built to be played online from the ground up. Today, we will be investigating the character sheet and its attributes. When you first attempt to join a game you are hosting or were invited to, you will be prompted to create a character. First, we have the name. This can be changed later if desired, and is the name that your character tends to go by. Next, we have the childhood proficiency. This corresponds to one of the 5 aspects in the game and will provide a bonus to any aspect checks made in a location that matches the biome listed in this proficiency. In the context of your story, this should reflect the kind of terrain your character grew up in and around. Did your character grow up in the woods? Up in the mountains? This cannot be changed later. Here we have the career proficiency. This corresponds to one of the 5 themes in the game and will provide a bonus to any aspect checks made in a location that matches the theme listed in this proficiency. In the context of your story, this should reflect what your character studied by choice. Did your character learn to forage in starved environments? Did they study different forms of life with biodiversity? This cannot be changed later. Now we have the aspect abilities. Each one of these corresponds to a number on an 8-sided die, or a D8. If you hover your mouse over the text, it will tell you the effect. For more information regarding the aspect abilities and how they work in the encounter system, please see Part 3.1, Choosing a Location and Resolving an Encounter. But for now, for each aspect ability, choose one of the 3 aspects: Peace and Diplomacy, or P&D for short, Aggression and Coordination, or A&C for short, or Investigation and Analysis, or I&A for short. When you roll your action hand, these will control which kinds of aspect checks you can make. These cannot be changed later, and it's recommended that you have at least one of each aspect in this mapping. Finally, we have the Deep Secret. The Deep Secret can be changed later until a certain point when you will reveal it. The Deep Secret is something you keep to yourself, at least in the beginning, that ties your character to the Nemesis. If the Nemesis was a Dark Lord, perhaps they killed your character's parents. Perhaps your character used to work for the Nemesis, or caused it to come to power. Ultimately, it's up to you, and should be based on the story you and your fellow players came up with when deciding what the Nemesis was. These are the parts of your character that you will choose during creation. There is more to your character that we will see once the game begins. Here is the character sheet in the game. There are a few new fields. Up here, we have the experience points. This is how to keep track of the main form of progression in the game. Experience points will be used to do many things, such as increase proficiency values, or even heal wounds. Below that, we have the exhausted condition. When checked, it means that your character was the main character for a scene and won't be cleared until the end of the current tier of locations. Next, we have the childhood proficiency value. During character creation, you chose the type. Now, you have a value associated with it. When resolving an encounter with a biome of this kind, you gain a bonus to all aspect checks equal to the value. This may be increased at the end of each location tier. Below is the career proficiency, and the same rules apply to it, except it applies to the theme and not the biome. It will also cost more experience to increase, but unlike the child proficiency, you gain the career proficiency during the final confrontation, which is the final battle, essentially. We now see that the aspect abilities table has an active column. This depicts if, in the current encounter, you have activated any aspect abilities. Please note that this is client-side and will not be saved if you relaunch the game. Next, we have the aspect maturity. This starts at 1 for all aspects and will increase as the game progresses. Mechanically, they do nothing until the final confrontation. In general, you'll want to improve the aspect maturity of the aspect that appears most in your aspect ability mappings. Down here, we have the wounds table. Each aspect can have up to 3 wounds, which are acquired when failing an aspect check by rolling a 1 on the d8. They start at a value of 1 and will automatically increase at the end of every scene. If they would increase past a value of 5, the party will instead gain a mistake point, and then it goes away. They can be removed at the end of a scene by spending experience points. Finally, we have the Save Changes button, which will update all information to the server side. Make sure to click this button after applying any changes. That's all for the character. It's certainly the most involved part of this game, but it's one of the most important parts. In the next section, we will talk about resolving encounters. Thank you for watching.